Hi everyone, my name is Anne-Marie Engelson and I am a STEM librarian here at SJSU and more specifically the biology librarian. And today we're going to be talking about how you can find a research article. So when you're trying to find a peer-reviewed research article for whatever assignment you've been given, you are likely going to be asked to find primary sources or a peer-reviewed research article or peer-reviewed articles. And there are some pretty simple steps that you can follow in order to make sure that you are getting the articles that you need in an effective manner and also making sure that you're getting exactly what you need, right? First, you want to select your topic. Topic selection is probably one of the most important parts because not only are you deciding what you're going to be doing research on, but it also can be really difficult, right? Like it's hard to sometimes settle on something. So we'll talk about some strategies that you can use to select your topic because it is part of the research process. I think people kind of think the research starts as soon as you get into a database, but it starts way before that. Then we're going to talk about how you can identify keywords or the terms that you're going to use to search in the databases to make sure that you're getting exactly what you need. Research databases, academic databases, they are very literal, and that's on purpose. Like it's a good function for them. However, that does mean that you need to be very clear about the terms that you're using to search for things. Finally, we'll talk about how you search in a database. I think this is the easiest part of everything. Databases work the same no matter what database you're in, and they're just like any other website that you've never used before. Sometimes you just got to click around a little bit to find out more, but I think this should come fairly natural to some of you. And then you need to get the article. Once you find it, how do you get it? Web of Science, which is one of the databases I'm going to be showing you today, and PubMed, another one I will be showing you. Neither of them have the articles in the database. You got to click out to them. So I'll show you how you can do that. And then finally, we'll talk a little bit about reading the article, and I'll give you a couple of tips that might help with that process. Now, before we talk about topics, though, we want to make sure that we're on the same page about peer-reviewed articles, okay? Peer-reviewed articles or scholarly journal articles, research articles, scientific journal articles, peer-reviewed research articles, or even sometimes people just say articles, and this is what they mean. They are all articles that were written by experts. They go through peer review process. They contain original research, which is new stuff. Meaning that they won't be reviewing, well, there are review articles out there in contrast to research articles. So research articles have that new stuff. They're providing new information, new facts. There was an experiment that was done, right? Review articles review all of the established research on a specific topic. So you might see those two, but we want to focus on research instead of review. Okay. And they're also very specific and technical. So they tend to really focus on looking at one very specific aspect or one specific population. Like they're very narrow in scope. And if you've ever looked for research articles for a project that was supposed to be more of an overview and all you found were these like really specific things, like you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's the nature of the beast, okay? They tend to also be very technical because, as I said, they are by experts and for experts, so sometimes they're quite dry to read through. Okay, the peer review process, though, is the most important part because it is the academia's version of checks and balances, right? It's how we maintain scientific quality. If something is not peer reviewed, there's no way for us to know if it's correct because they're providing new information, right? We can't fact check it ourselves. But the peer review process is how we fact check things. We want to make sure that other experts who know enough about research would know that, like, oh, this article is correct, for example. Okay. So now let's talk about selecting your topic. So selecting your topic is part of the research process, as I said, and sometimes I find it's really helpful to use the internet, Google, the open web, to gather information. If you've been given a broad topic and you need to narrow it down, or if you have been given free reign to choose your own topic, sometimes the internet can help you out, okay? So just do a little searchy search, go into Google. You can read Wikipedia pages, you can read whatever's there, but just remember this is for you and your own understanding and not necessarily something that you're going to be citing later. It's just to help you find the right articles. Okay. I like to check the news section in Google, actually. That helps with inspiration. Sometimes things that are being talked about might be a good choice. Okay. And then you want to make sure that you like the topic enough, especially if it's a semester-long term paper. Like that would really help because then you have interest in it and it's easier to write about. Or, if you are looking at topics that aren't exactly your cup of tea or something that you want to focus on for your career, maybe you can try to find an intersection between the two, and that might help. Okay. You also want to take notes of the terms that you find for keyword development. We always want to use terms that the scientists and researchers are using. So whatever terms you're finding as you're researching, write those down. Those are going to help. So if you need some help narrowing your topic, there's always some low-hanging fruit, okay? So things like location, a specific location where you know the event is happening. You can focus on different communities within California or different countries or whatever. That's a really easy way to narrow things down. You can think about specific attributes. So, if it's health related, it could be something like, oh, hey, you're researching cancer, so you can focus on a specific type of cancer. When you are focusing on different groups of people, you can even narrow that down from vaping teenagers to vaping teen athletes. Or, you can focus on very specific groups like women for diabetes risk factors for women. You also might consider impacts. So how can COVID-19 affect the human reproductive system? How does job-related stress impact the overall health of the population? How does diet affect aging? Or conversely, what is the best diet for living a long life? There's a lot of research on that. You'll be able to find something. Once you have your topic, then you need to develop those keywords. Now, if you did some research beforehand as you're doing your topic development, you might have some terms already. And if not, there's two ways that you can get started on that. First is that searching that I mentioned. So, starting using a broad term either in the databases or in Google, the open web, and review the results. See what's out there. Get inspiration from stuff that already exists, okay? The keywords will be extremely helpful through those, especially through databases, because those are things that are supplied by researchers, okay? Your other method is to develop a research question, hypothesis, or thesis statement, and then pull the most important words out of there. And don't forget about action words as well. They're usually going to be nouns, but there might also be terms like impact or reduces or something like that that also has meaning and will shape your actual topic. And then some other considerations that you will have to think about are synonyms. So as I said, databases are very literal. If I search for the word crash, it will not find the word collision, even though they mean similar things, okay? So I want to think of all the different terms people might use because I want to hedge my bets here. I want to make sure that I'm getting all the research I can so that I find the exact right articles for me. You also want to make sure that you're using scientific terms rather than common words or colloquial terms, okay? If I'm researching heart attacks, I could just put heart attacks, but there's also very specific terms for the different kinds of heart attacks as well, like myocardial infarction. And then I also might want to identify scientific terms for plants, animals, fungi, etc., and that helps a lot. Okay, so if I have a research question, however, let's practice and see if we can get some keywords from here. So my example here is how can farmers utilize AI in order to increase sustainability in their farms? What terms do you think I should pull out in order to search for them? Now, if you said farmers, AI, and sustainability, good job, gold star, you win. That's exactly what I should be searching for. However, as you recall, I said you got to think of all the terms, so I'm not quite done. Okay, so what's a different way that I could say farmers or farms? Maybe something like agriculture, or I can be specific and say crop develop or tomato crops or orchards or whatever, rice paddies, doesn't matter. And then also I've got AI here. Okay, so AI is an acronym. I'm going to want to spell that out to artificial intelligence, or again, I can be more specific. Machine learning, image detection, things like that. And then sustainability is another term. Now, this one's a bit of a trick question here because sustainability is fine as it is. That's the term that we use, especially if you're doing an overview on something. But you can, as usual, be more specific about the type of sustainability, like sustainable energy, water use, whatever. Okay, now that you've got some keywords, you want to go into the databases. Okay, so the best way to get to subject-specific articles like you need for this class would be to use a subject-specific database, okay? You can find them listed in our research guides. Also note, databases are fussy about language. Remember to use those keywords, those terms that researchers use, and spell them correctly. If you misspell something, it just won't do it. So save yourself the hassle. Do a little search in Google first because it'll tell you how to spell it. And then use the left-hand menu to filter your search results. Okay, that left-hand menu, it's a filter menu. It's usually on the left side. It exists in almost every database, and it's going to be a huge help. Okay, so to find the biological sciences databases or the biology databases, the library homepage is the best place to go. So we're going to start here at the homepage and scroll down to our research guides here. And I'm going to select the one for biological sciences in the subject guides. Note there's one for all of the majors on campus. So if you're studying something else other than biology or doing any research in any other subject, we've got you covered. So just check them out, okay? And I'm going to push go, and it's going to take me to this page. Okay, actually it's going to take me to this page. Sorry, got ahead of myself. And this is the page that has my email address on it. So if you have any questions, you're struggling with your research, you can't find the articles, whatever, contact me immediately. Do not suffer in silence. I am here to help. I can help you with your research plan. I'm not going to hand you some articles, but I'll definitely get you started and on your way. Okay. If I'm looking for articles, though, I'm obviously going to click on the Finding Articles tab. That makes sense. And then these big three databases are going to be your friend, okay? Web of Science is my personal go-to and will probably be useful for almost anything that you've got to do. But if your research is biomedical in nature, it's about the human body, it's about medicine, PubMed is the gold standard here. Now, a note on PubMed, it can be difficult to use, okay? It's very powerful and it's very useful for experts, for doctors, medical researchers, etc., but it can be difficult to use. If you're having trouble with PubMed, try Web of Science, see if you are having a better time with it, okay? But I'm going to show you both. Also note, you got to go through the library database to get here. The library links include what's called a proxy. It's like a VIP ticket to get into the databases. We pay for these, okay? PubMed's a little exception, but it will at least give you access to the articles you find in PubMed. But Web of Science we pay for. If you just Google Web of Science, you can't get in. They won't let you. So go through the library, okay? So here's Web of Science. This is what it looks like, nice and purple. And if I was doing a search, I'd probably be really specific, but for example purposes, I'm just going to search for diabetes. Okay, just basic topic. Okay, so I've got a lot of research here. Okay, and that's 1.1 million articles. That's a lot. So I'm going to use this left-hand menu to narrow it down. Now you're probably going to add more keywords and be more specific with your keywords, which I highly recommend. So you'll have fewer articles here. If you do find that you're too specific and you have like 2 or 3 articles as a result, try to like walk it back a little bit. Okay. Anytime you only get 1 or 2 articles as a result, it means there's something wrong with your search and you just got to revisit it. Okay. So I can do things like search within the results. So I'm just going to put in women. So I'm searching for diabetes research about women in particular. Okay. And then I can search by publication year. So if you're required to only search for things in the last 5 years, it's here. Document types helps. The article that you see here, that's research article. Okay. Not review articles or any other kind of article. It's research. And I'm going to hit refine. That's the default. And then I also might be interested in the categories menu, and these are fields or disciplines. So it kind of can help, maybe you're focusing on diabetes in pregnant women. So like OBGYN might be useful. Okay. When you're looking through the articles, just know this is what takes up all your time. So plan accordingly, give yourself some time to actually do this. Do not procrastinate on the research part. Okay. Do it as soon as you can. Once I find an article in this list, though, that I'm interested in reading, I'm probably going to select it by the title. So cool, I read the title, sounds great. I'm going to click on it. It takes me to what's called a record. In the record, the first thing I'm going to do is read the abstract. This is a summary of the article. Now, I'm going to say this twice in this lecture, but this is important. You cannot cite an article if you only read the abstract. You have to read the whole thing. Okay, it's lazy science. Okay, you cannot just cite the abstract. Okay, you got to do the whole thing. Now, underneath the abstract, you will see things like keywords. These keywords can be useful if you are having trouble finding articles. So if I'm having trouble, but I found one that's good, I'm going to check out the keywords and see if I can get some ideas from here. Now, they only list one here in author keywords and some other ones, but usually there's more than one here, I promise. So I've decided that I want to read it. I read through the abstract. I'm like, cool, sounds great. So I'm going to go up to this gray header here and click full text at publisher, and it should take me to the article. Here it is. Now, if that doesn't exist and I just have the orange find it button, I'm going to click on that. That goes through what's called OneSearch in SJSU. That's our catalog. It's that box that's just right there at the beginning when you open the home page. And I'm going to look under full text availability, and I've got a link to where it is. Okay. If this does not exist, we've got something called interlibrary loan. Okay. This is a program that we're a part of where we ask other libraries to help us with things we don't have, and we help them with things they don't have, because sharing is caring, friends. So if you need an article that we don't subscribe to because we're a state school, we don't have Harvard money, all you need to do is go through OneSearch, okay? And it will look something like this instead. So you won't have that full text availability link. It'll say sign in for more options. Once you sign in through one.sjsu like you normally would for anything else, it should give you an option to request it. And it might look like this, or it might be like a blue link looking kind of thing that says request from other libraries. Either way, you're going to click on that and just go through the forms, okay, and submit your request. Once you submit the request, it will take a couple of days to get, so make sure that you plan accordingly, but you should get an email that will tell you how you can get the PDF of that article, okay? So we can get you anything. Don't ignore something just because you don't have immediate access, okay? Each peer-reviewed article is its own unique little flower, and if you ignore one, you're never going to see it again. Okay. Oh, I forgot about PubMed. Let's go back here. So if I were to search in PubMed, I'm just going to show you that it's exactly the same, but also more difficult to use. I'm going to use diabetes as my example as well here. And push enter. As you can see, I've got that list of articles here on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, I've got that limiting menu, the limiter menu, the filter menu, okay? The only thing that is the main difference between Web of Science and PubMed is that the article type gets very specific. Now, they list a couple here, but if you scroll down to additional filters, you'll see all different kinds of article types, and they're very particular about it, okay? So unless you're very clear that you want like a clinical trial, for example, I would just ignore these for now and just be very careful about what you're seeing underneath the article that you're interested in. So if it says review, that's a review article and not a research article, hun. So you're going to want to look for one that's maybe not. So this one's going to be, well, it might be a research article, okay? If I were interested in any of the articles, same thing, I'm going to click on the title. It'll take me to the record, the abstract is here, and then the full text links are over here on the right-hand side, okay? And any of these links will bring me to that article. Okay, once you have the article, what do? You got to read it, obviously. Just know they can be really dry. Make sure that you use a dictionary or Google to help you with that, okay? Especially with words that you don't understand. I've had some students say that, you know, they don't need a dictionary, or like it's dumb to use it, or whatever, like it's shameful or something, but there is no shame in needing to look up a word that is new to you, okay? I do it all the time, and I am an extremely educated woman. I promise you it's totally fine. Okay. Also, I find it helpful to take notes, either in the margins or annotation tools on PDF or in a notebook or something. If you just highlight, it can sometimes be easier to plagiarize. And if you take notes and interpret that information into your own words, that kind of helps with the plagiarism thing. Okay. I promise you it's a good technique. And then also, as I said before, make sure that you read the whole thing. You cannot cite an article if you've only read the abstract. That is lazy science. It's like dishonest, basically. You're saying you've read the whole thing and you didn't. So you got to read the whole thing, I promise. Okay, so that's what I have for you. So thank you so much for listening to my little lecture. If you do have any questions, you're having difficulty finding articles, know that you can always reach out to me and I will help. I do, things over email or through a quick Zoom meeting. My email address is annemarie.engelson@sjsu.edu. I'm also the only Anne Marie Engelson on campus. It's easy to find me. So please know you can always reach out. Good luck on your assignment and finding those articles. I know that you guys are going to knock whatever you're doing out of the park. You're going to be so good at it. And have a great rest of your semester, guys.